Hi there, business owner. Are you looking to improve your business knowledge? Do you want to see behind the scenes of successful businesses? And more importantly, are you looking to build a better business in just 15 minutes each week? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the 3Bs podcast. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 3Bs podcast, your go-to 15-minute episode each week to help you build a better business. And this week I have an amazing guest with me. Jo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you very much for having me. I'm Jo O'Neill. I run Brightcat Business Solutions, which is a marketing company, but I also run a Facebook group for disabled entrepreneurs, and I also host a podcast for disabled entrepreneurs called Three Spoonies. I might be a little bit busy.
Absolutely. And we connected at the SBS event. So we're both SBS winners with Theopathetis. And for those that don't know me, if this is your first time watching on YouTube or listening, hi, I'm Stephanie, CEO and founder of the 3Bs podcast and CEO and founder of multi-award winning bookkeeping and accountancy practice, ABCS UK. Now the formalities out of the way, let's get into it. So today I want to talk about diversity, inclusion, and disabilities from two angles, really. So as a disabled entrepreneur, what challenges do you face and how do you overcome them?
The biggest challenge is actually letting yourself rest and taking care of you, because I've always been a workaholic even before I was disabled, and I would hit burnout periodically. And when you become disabled, you try to do the same thing, and you can't. You absolutely can't. You have to listen to your body. You have to rest when you need to. You have to take time out, and you have to realise how much you can actually do. I now have a table with a functional capacity on it, which I fill in to make sure I know where I am capacity wise. Because I was like, people get asking me, how are you doing in capacity? It's like, I don't know. I just keep taking things on until I keel over. But yeah, that I find quite important. And finding people around you that will tell you to go rest. Because it's okay, but we often think it's not.
Absolutely, and I think it's so important. I think all business owners in general, when we first start out, we just take on every bit of work that comes our way. We work with anyone who wants to work with us because we just want to make money. We just want to build the business. And it definitely, it's a steep learning curve, and it's one we took as well. Like, you can't help everybody. You can't work with everybody because actually you then diminish the level of service you provide if you're service-based because you're trying to stretch yourself too thin. And if you throw in a disability on top that affects your capacity in any way, we all think we can do everything in a day and we can't. And I think it's important, like you say, to be realistic with yourself. I think I often underestimate what I can do, which then leaves me that little room of error. So I have two neurodivergent children, and quite often I'll get thrown into a school meeting or I'll get a phone call to go and pick somebody up. But many parents are juggling childcare on top. And I find if I sort of give myself just under 10% of what my actual capacity is, then when I'm at capacity, I'm actually not at capacity. So if that dream piece of work comes in, I can take it. And also if I'm called away to the school, it's not going to throw everything out for the rest of the week.
Yeah, I'm sort of the same. I mean, I currently put myself at capacity. I've got maybe 5 hours a week left in 3 out of 4 weeks of the month. But I know I've got clients who want to increase their hours, and therefore they're my priority, and I'll just put that on the side for them. And so I keep reevaluating. It's like I recently took on a client of, can you do an extra hour a day, or like 1 hour a day? So I can find an hour, thankfully, because most of my stuff isn't mostly not time sensitive, so I can do it whenever I'm up to it.
Absolutely. And I think, like you say, when you throw things in, like any extra challenges, really, it is being realistic with yourself, which as entrepreneurs, we're all dreamers. We all want the next thing. We're all excited to build these things that are our babies and our businesses. So I think it is so important to be realistic with yourself. Or if, like me, I'm a huge dreamer and I want to do all the things all the time, when I go to accountancy events or networking events, they go, what do you do? Well, I go do this, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this. And they go, how do you fit it all in? I'm like, well, I just kind of do. But I have clients and I have friends and I have a fiance who will pull me to one side and go, you're going to burn out. Like, you need to stop. I don't care what amazing opportunities come up. Like, you're going to hurt yourself. And both ways you need to learn yourself your own boundaries, but you also need to have people around you that are not afraid to go, excuse me, you need to stop.
Yeah, because like they will, and you won't until someone tells you. Because you go, no, everything's fine, let's go.
Yeah, and I guess you run a Facebook group for disabled entrepreneurs.
I do.
What is the benefit of entrepreneurs coming and joining that group? What do you find is the plus points of that?
What I'm told about that is A, we keep each other motivated, and B, you're surrounded by people who get it. If you're having a bad day, you're having a struggle, you can go and have a wine and go, this is just crap. I'm having a bad day, and then people go take yourself off and rest. Come back to it another day. We'll celebrate every win. But yeah, it's just that support network of people who understand, because especially if you've got hidden disability, a lot of people don't see it, and a lot of people don't understand that you look fine, but inside you're fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think celebrating your wins is so important. I think as business in general, and I guess when you've got any extra challenges or hurdles to overcome, even the smallest wins. We spoke last week, didn't we? And we were talking, and I said, look, sometimes just getting out of bed, just making your bed, is the best thing you can do that day. If you're having a bad pain day, or if you're particularly struggling with your disability, or even an illness for an able-bodied person, you need to recognise those tiny little things.
Yeah, I mean, my coach has always been like, well, "What are you going to do to celebrate this win?" And it's like, well, I'm working towards a big goal. No, no, celebrate the little wins, because otherwise, you're always chasing the next thing, and you haven't taken time to go, I did this. So even if it is getting out of bed and making your bed, having a shower, because some days that's all you can do.
And being realistic with yourself, that that's all you can do.
Yeah,
Also, on the other side of things, so I love to be diverse and inclusive as possible with everything we do with all of my businesses. It's really important to me. But as a business owner, what can we do to be more mindful, or how can we help disabled and diverse individuals into our businesses as we're building them?
you can advertise that you are diverse and you are inclusive, and if you've got someone that needs some accommodation, ask them what they need, because no, you won't necessarily know. You don't know the ins and outs of everything, but they'll know. And don't dismiss them if they say they're struggling or they're having a bad day or any problem. See how you can help them and how you can work with them. I promise you, they will be the best employees you ever have.
I think that's true. Absolutely. I think people don't ask, and as business owners, as we start to build businesses and build teams, specifically, I find that first employee. Same with my clients, when they take on that first employee and they're not doing it all themselves, letting go of that control is a huge step for them. So if they
Yeah,
have an employee that has additional needs or extra accommodations that need to be made for them, it's very easy for them to forget that they
yeah,
need to ask. So I guess if you're listening to this podcast today and you have employees or a team, drop them an email, WhatsApp them, Slack them, however you communicate with your employees and your team. Just say to them, is there anything I can do to help you in your role? Because they should answer you truthfully and honestly, and they might be really grateful for it. Do you agree?
yeah. I absolutely agree. And remember, access to work funding is also available for employed people as well as the self-employed. If you need accommodations and you're struggling and you need that little boost to help you build your business, or in your employed role, absolutely go for it. Find someone to explain it to you. It's not me. It confuses me. But there are a lot of people out there who will help you sort of navigate it, and you might be able to get some help to flourish and thrive.
That's it. And if your employees thrive, then you build your business. Like a couple of weeks ago, I had an episode on here all about building your staff. Build your business by building your staff. Like, I train all my employees in anything I can. I think cross training is really important, so that people can pick up where other people are maybe not available to do. So if you've got more than a few in your team, and I like to think of it like Tesco. So you hear over the tannoy in Tesco, all multi-skilled workers to checkout, please. It just means the checkouts are struggling. They're overwhelmed, they're overburdened, and they need somebody else in the business to step in. And I think if you cross-train, if you've got disabled or diverse employees that need that more support, or maybe need to step away, I've got hospital appointments, having somebody else that can step in without affecting you as a business owner and stressing you out more, I think it's really important.
It is, and people like to learn new skills.
Yeah, I think it makes employees feel valued as well when you take an interest in
Yeah.
what they want and what they need. So the access to work, is that run by the government?
It is run by the government. There is a pot you can tell people what you need to help, whether that's something physical, it could be a support worker, in all different guises, even like someone to attend something with you. Or like say you need a better chair because your back and other things, ergonomics, equipment, anything that will help you do what you do. And then they assess it, and which is a very long wait period, but that's the government. And then hopefully you get the things you need that will help you either build your business or help you in your employed role.
Absolutely. I guess as well, another thing I want to sort of talk to you about is, as an entrepreneur, as quite an introverted person that I am, believe it or not, I it took me a long time to get over that imposter syndrome and going for contracts and going to talk to new clients and building that business and securing those sales. As a disabled entrepreneur, I presume there's an extra hurdle there. Is there any support or tips you can give on how they can get over that hurdle?
I'd say when you've built your confidence to know you are good at doing what you do, keep that in the back of your mind and just be honest with potential clients or employers, that this is something you have, this is something that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, and they will be so accommodating, I assure you, especially if it's a good employer. But if you're self-employed, and clients tell me off if I'm struggling and I'm working. So they're usually good people. If they're not good people, they're not the clients for you.
This is it. If you're in the service-based industry, you don't have to work with everybody, do you? You don't have to take on
No.
everyone that comes through your door. If they're not right for you and they're not a right fit for you and they're not accommodating to everything. So for me, it's childcare. My
Yeah.
clients have to be accommodating with the fact that the summer holidays, we are not client facing in the practice. We can't be. All of us have children to care for over the summer. Some people have elderly parents that they have to care for, or other needs that mean that you're not there. And I think being open and upfront from the beginning and not just saying yeah to everything, because all it's going to do is make you more burnt out and you resent, and then you're not going to feel like you can do your job as good as you do.
No, I mean, I don't take on clients that need something done at a specific time of day every day, or need me to be sat here waiting for whatever. They can book in meetings, we can have sessions, that's fine. But it's the more structured stuff. Whereas I know some VAs do; they have very structured work, but I just can't. So I don't take on that kind of work. I take on this needs doing. So long as it's done by a deadline, all's good.
Absolutely. And your clients, I guess you need to find your clients. And if you're not the right fit for a client, and this is where I find a lot of accountants fall down, is they will take on anybody. And I will only take on clients that are a good fit for me. If they're not a good fit for me, I will signpost them to somebody else in my industry. I will signpost them. There will be somebody else available to help them. And it's okay to let them go.
It is. If you're in a service industry, if you don't have a good rapport and a good relationship with your clients, you're not going to work well together, and it's going to be horrible for both.
Yeah, absolutely. So with we're both service based, I know, but with a product based business, what sort of tips do you have, if any, for disabled entrepreneurs that want to have a product based business? So I know a lot of the SBS winners are makers. They'll make things, make
Yeah,
jewelry, and I guess disabilities can often put a spanner in the works for those.
it can. I would be mindful of how much you're doing. For example, Claire, who is my co-host on Three Spoonies, she makes physical products, and she can sit there for 10 hours and then wonder why she's in absolute agony and can't move, because she's so focused on what she's doing. If you have to, scheduling breaks, stick an alarm on your phone, get up, move around, go have a drink, eat something. It's like it's a look after you break. But as a disabled entrepreneur, that is the most important thing, because if you overdo it and your body fails, no, there's nobody else to do it.
Absolutely, especially if you're on your own, and if you're looking to
Yeah.
build your business, which I presume you are, if you're watching or listening to this podcast, then you are going to need to get in help at some point. Is there a particular area of business you think that disabled entrepreneurs should look for support with first?
It depends what they struggle with. The first thing I did was get an accountant, because I don't know what I'm doing and I didn't want to make a mistake. So I'd always suggest that one first. Then look at your business, look at what you hate doing, get rid of that first. Then look at what you might enjoy doing, but your time could be better spent on other things. that's your second lot. And then if you grow to the point where you're still struggling to keep up with everything, then it might be time to let go of some of the things you do enjoy and is worth your time, but you might need some help with.
I love that. I love it. I never thought of it like that, actually. That's a really good point. So for me, in the bookkeeping and accountancy practice, I love nothing more than getting a bag of receipts from our construction workers at tax return time and sitting and straightening out all the receipts and putting them all onto we use Apron Capture to store all of the receipts onto our accounting software. And we used to have a tally chart in the office of how many McDonald's wrappers we could find. So, like, which was the most popular? It was usually cheeseburger wrapper, but which was the most popular? And it was loved it. But I don't have the time to sit there and do that anymore. My time is better spent on the more complex tax matters, advising clients and supporting them. So we have clients with additional needs. We have clients with dyslexia, so numbers and letters and dyspraxia, they really struggle with. So I'll help them make the payment to the HMRC to make sure that they get their payment reference correct, so it's allocated correctly. We'll help them change their name and address on their driving license because that's where they struggle. So if you do worry about those little things, if they're stressing you out, go and find someone that will help you, because even if your current accountant doesn't do that for you, there are ones out there that does.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are people who specialise and are supporting in those ways and specific things that will be able to help you in whatever it is that you struggle with or hate doing. For example, I do marketing, but for quite some time I had a copywriter writing my blogs, and it was really nice that they just dropped into my inbox every 2 weeks and I just had to put them up. I am working on getting back to having a copywriter because I haven't got the time to do it. I'm also looking at getting someone to do the subtitling on my podcast because I hate it. Mainly because I hate listening to my own voice. Although everybody else is subtitling, that's fine, but I don't want to do my own.
I don't mind it, but I think I've just got used to it now. After 80 odd episodes now, I'm kind of used to it. So I can't believe we've done 15 minutes already. It goes so quickly when I'm talking to you. I talk to everybody. I love it. So how can my listeners connect with you, and where's the best place for them to look if they want to know more about any of your services?
Any of them, you can find my business by typing in Bright Cat Business Solutions. I will come up on most things. I am on all the socials, or you can search me. I am on LinkedIn as Joe O'Neill, or you can come join the Facebook group if you search for the Business Success Network for Disabled Entrepreneurs. And if you like me and can't spell it, it should come up before you get to entrepreneurs. Come and join and see what it's all about.
Absolutely. And what we'll do is we'll put some links in the show notes as well so people can get through nice and easily. Thank you so much for joining me. And for those that are watching on YouTube and those that are listening on the podcast platforms, thank you. That is the end of another episode of the 3Bs podcast. I will see you next week for the next episode. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the 3Bs podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please connect with us on social media. Like, rate and review wherever you are listening to this podcast so that I can help more business owners build a better business. See you next week.